Welcome to the Daybreak Star Radio Network. Our motto, our saying here, every time we turn the microphones hot here in our control room, indigenizing the airwaves. That's why we work so hard to fulfill the requests of our listeners locally, nationally. We even have listeners across the mighty fine oceans. And Sherry and I would like to welcome our special guest today, Paige. And please forgive me. I hope I'm getting your last name correct. Pettibon?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, awesome. Paige, welcome to the Daybreak Star Radio Network. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell everyone who you are and what you do and your tribal affiliation?
Yeah, so my name is Paige Pettibon. I'm Bitterroot Salish from Montana, the Flathead Reservation. Born and raised in Tacoma, Washington, which are the traditional ancestral lands of the Puyallup people. And I've been fortunate to learn the Puyallup tribal language, culture, songs, and traditions. And I like to make art. So that looks different day to day. Sometimes it's beadwork, jewelry on my Play to See page, or, working with some organizations, or, just some of my community members that need some help with something. So, it's just whatever my talents can help with my community and my people. And I've been really fortunate to make a career being an artist at this point in my life.
Yeah, good job. Good job. The big news that you've had recently, or we think it's big news. It is. It really is.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, most people don't get a dream opportunity like that.
Yeah. So you were approached by the Seattle Kraken hockey team to work up their Native Heritage Month logo. Like, how did that happen? What did it feel like?
Yeah.
They gave me a call and they asked me if I would be interested, and I said yes. And we already had a relationship from a previous project, and it's just gotten strengthened over time. And so when I saw Fox Spears did last year's Indigenous Peoples warm-up jerseys, and I remember just thinking, how amazing is that? And then they asked me, so I was so honored, and it was such a privilege to be there. And they really made me feel special. And it is a big deal, to be represented in this way and to feel very special. And it really made a big impact on me personally to have my artwork be lifted up in that way and be for a good cause. The warm-up jerseys were up for auction for the One Roof Foundation. And so the proceeds, most of the proceeds go to helping homeless youth. And so, I just thought it was all around a really good opportunity, and they support me too. I got paid for it. And so that was great.
That's always good.
Yeah, that's always good. And, the feedback has been pretty amazing. It's really hot on Twitter, I guess. And people are like kind of bummed that they didn't get a jersey. So their demands are, we want this jersey available for purchase, like right now. And so, that's really amazing to hear that it's something that's reached a lot of people, beyond people that I know. So that's amazing as an artist to have your work reach so many folks.
Yeah, that's great. Well, myself, I went with some of the people from radio station and from United Indians, and the little sales booth where they sell all the T-shirts and stuff that was closest to us was already sold out. We had to go hunt down our T-shirts to get. We're like, what? No.
Yeah. It was really amazing night. They had me get there early, and I made the design, but I hadn't seen it on the on the merch. They have T-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweaters, and then I didn't see the jerseys until that night. So there was a big unveiling of it, and they had me go into the store, and they had on what they're called, but they're like dry cleaner racks where they move around. They have that at the register, and then they have and it's orange, so it's like really bright compared to what their usual jerseys are, which are a blue. So it stands out. And so I saw it and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then it started moving. And then as it moved, I could see the back and it had my name on the back. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a way to, to show me the artist. Like it was so special and just so thoughtful the way that they included me on this project, and really they made me feel so special. I would recommend anyone working with the Kraken. It was just, they really take care of you.
That's great. Yeah, it was really cool when they spotlighted you too during the game, and then they had you on the Megatron TVs, and yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, they had me on the Zamboni too. I was like, oh my gosh, what a night. And they had me up in a suite. It was really just a really special and fun night. And then the game was great too. Like it, yeah, it was just amazing. The Capitals were in the lead for a long time, and I was really nervous. And then boom, we came in, and it was just like, what an exciting game to also be at.
Yeah, yeah, I think they went all out for you.
I think so too.
Like they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what month did the conversation begin between you and the Kraken, and then how much back and forth, was going on, and did the factory ever reach out to ask you, dimensions and sizing in terms of, how front and center it needed to be on the jersey, like just the kind of more of the behind the scenes aspect is just so cool to hear, because you don't usually get to hear that,
Yeah. So they reached out to me in the springish time. Okay. So that really gave me a lot of time to work on it. And, I think a lot of people don't know how long it takes for stuff like this to happen. And it takes a while. And they really wanted to have the story. They really wanted to have, a recording of me in a place that meant a lot to me, to have it be shown at the game. And so it took a long time for us to really coordinate the recording of me, to talk about the piece and the process. But I really appreciated the fact that they came down to see me. They're in Seattle, I'm in Tacoma, and they came to see me at a place that means a lot to me. So the Browns Point Lighthouse, it's, a place I frequently go to out, and then you can see the water, and it's just, it had a lot of sentimental value of place, which as Indigenous folks, it's really important to be associated to our plant and animal relatives. There was a salmon jumping behind me when they were recording me. It was just all coming together.
You're just meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant to be. And it was a really beautiful sunny day. And so that was already when I had everything all finished. They wanted to record me and have some time to do the edits and stuff. And then, but the process of it, they give you all the specs and the colors. So I knew what color I was going to have. And they knew I would like it because in a previous project, I used kind of a reddish orange in the project, and they wanted it to lean more towards red, but they knew I liked orange, and that was an intentional choice for Orange Shirt Day, Every Child Matters. And so the significance was, really important for me as well, to have something that, thinking of our youth, thinking of athleticism, thinking of our relationships with, these teams, being, in Tacoma and not having a hockey team, it's a new thing for me personally too. Not everyone at Tacoma and Seattle area, it's not new to everyone here. A lot of people are into hockey, but for me, it was kind of new, and it felt really special to be part of this new beginning, and to be so welcomed. And I don't know if you know this, but these types of shirts that they have, these warm-up jerseys that they have, they're hockey is for everyone. So they really pick and choose certain artists, and they really want to bridge this relationship, which is very Indigenous, right? I was oh, that's how you should do it, right? They're trying to be a part of the community, be in relationship with us. So I think that they're doing good work, first and foremost. And they were really open to my design. So I had I just put everything out there. I had one design that was like everything but the kitchen sink. It was just like, oh yeah, all indigenous everything. But it was a bit busy. And then I simplified it. And then I really wanted to have it be a, something indigenous that everyone can appreciate. I mean, there's a little bit of like a ubiquitous, the medicine wheel. It's not specific to this place, but I wanted everyone to feel included, right? And that is something that we all appreciate, the holistic values, and bringing in the 4 directions, the 4 medicines, the sacred number 4 into this space, especially since we're getting out of this. I mean, we're kind of getting out of COVID. I don't know. We're in a safer place than we are when we started, and just, we're easing into these public spaces. So still thinking about our health and well-being in this space, in this way. And then, so I also incorporated some of those elements with the previous project that we worked on before, having 4 being a, something that I'm thinking of. And, so it was a design that they picked. And then I developed it a little bit more, fine-tuned it a little bit more, really wanting the S to stand out, having some of their blue incorporated. They said, you don't have to have the blue incorporated. It can be whatever. But I just thought, having this relationship with them and indigenous peoples, that's something I wanted to draw on and strengthen. And so that's also what I did with the previous piece that I did for them at the community Iceplex. It's drawing on these commonalities so we all feel together, feel like we belong together. Thinking about, I just imagine like a youth looking at this and thinking, I belong here. And this is for me, right? And so those are the thoughts that I have when creating this warm-up jersey.
Thank you very much for explaining it. It's just so cool to hear, all the mechanics and all the hard work behind the scenes. Thank you.
Yeah, we were so proud when we found out it was you too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. It was so fun that night too. I went down on to go on the Zamboni, and I was like working my way back up to the suite, and I got stopped by so many people that I knew, so many people I didn't know, or like, acquainted with, and they were just so encouraging and so happy and proud of me. It made me feel like just so special, and it's been like, it's been up and down. Like sometimes things are hard, and it's been a hard couple of years being removed from community and, trying to stay safe. And to be out there, I just felt this overwhelming feeling of joy and like feeling seen, right? Because it kind of feels like you're working in a vacuum sometimes. Like in my house, my little house, I just make my art on my iPad, and it just felt great to be out there and for people to see my work in this way.
That's great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So, what inspired you to do art and to be a professional artist?
Well, I think that I just am an artist, and for a while I tried to do different career paths, but I think when you're chosen to do something, everything feels unsettled until you do that thing. So I was a hairstylist for a long time, and I did little odds and end jobs like a lot of artists do, painting houses. I was a nanny. I cleaned up houses and stuff too. And then I also worked as a para-educator at Chief Lachey schools. And I think with that, everything that I've done has helped inform the type of artist I want to be. I think my voice wouldn't have been as strong if I hadn't taken this path, being in community with our youth and elders. And then also I didn't, start reclaiming my culture until later in my life too. And I needed all of these things to help inform me to be a better artist and to have more meaningful work and to be more careful with the stuff that I put out there. To just make stuff for the sake of making it, it doesn't always hit right. And I have to think about the longevity and like the legacy that I'm putting out there. And I think, these experiences are very helpful for me to just learn, be a better person, be a better ancestor, a better descendant, and to listen to what people are saying and their stories, and to just see how I can be included in that and making an impact that goes beyond me. So, it was something that's always been inside of me. My parents fostered my artistic abilities at a young age. I didn't have that, oh, you can't be an artist. Artists don't make any money. But societally, I did feel that way at some point, like people are like, oh, where's that going to get you? But I think the people closest to me always just loved seeing what I did. And that kept me going. And at, a certain point, everyone's like, oh, Paige could do this, Paige could do that. And then I just started doing it. When COVID happened, I dove into this headfirst and just started investing into my art and time into this. And I'm really fortunate that I've gotten opportunities, some opportunities outside of my comfort zone, but I said yes. And, I think that just kind of trickles out and people are like, oh, we can count on her to do this. And and for anyone who is thinking about it, just be patient with yourself. Timing is everything. And I hope people that are around you encourage you and lift you up so that you believe in yourself and have confidence to take on projects that are kind of scary, because that's what it takes to get to a point where you can be an artist living off of your work. I'm always encouraging people, like, if you are an artist, you need to do it. It's gonna tell you that you need to do this one way or another at some point in your life.
Thank you so much. Paige, can you please tell us about your artistic style and what it represents to you and the messaging that you would like, your future new fan base to understand from your creativity?
Yeah. So I don't really take like the Western approach where you just focus on one thing, develop that one style. You make the same thing over and over in your life, and then you perfect that. That works for a lot of people, and I think that's great. That isn't how I work. I love to learn first and foremost, and I like to try new mediums. And I think depending on my mood, depending on what the project calls for, my style and the medium that I choose is based off of that. So if there's a mural that needs to be done, the type of work that I do is very place-based and who's going to be viewing it. And so I think about that rather than like really putting myself into it in, like what I like. I also want to respect the people that are going to be looking at it day to day and what gets them through the day. But there's places where I have little pockets of where it's just me, right? And I do make art just for myself. I'm always trying to develop it and strengthen it and have not just my voice, but my people's voice. And so, I like to do portraits. I like to do a lot of our relatives, like plants and animal relatives. I can't really say I have a style, which is probably really annoying for a lot of people. And they probably don't take it that serious if you don't have a style. But it works for me and I like it. And I say, if you want to have it all, have your cake and eat it too, do that. If it makes you happy, what was your other part of the question?
And just overall representation, but I think you covered that. I think
yeah,
self-explanatory.
Yeah. And I just want to say it's, it's not a perfect thing. Like I try to be as intentional, but some folks will have their insights on it, or they'll have their own interpretation. But I think, so traditionally, we hear our stories and we're taught we each have our own moral to that story. And it's not our business to tell people what to think. That's it within them. And it may change over time. And I try to look at my work like that. And I think, as we know, as Indigenous folks, a lot of the time people try to have our culture and traditions be static and just like stuck in amber and just not move in time. And I'm trying to like fight that. Like, we're always changing, and we're always where we have a lot of nuances. You can't just say this is how it is forever. Like, it will change over time. We're human beings. And as all cultures do, they change. And I just want to be a reflection of that, right? Just, contemporary in a sense, but also like traditional values, and just how it is to be a urban Indigenous woman, in today's, I'm very, like, my work is very feminine, I feel like, and I'm also trying to break into these certain areas of, design, right? Like the graphic design world is very white male dominant. And I'm trying to like kind of break into that and try to break these stereotypes of what it looks like to be this type of artist, having not just native art, right? Like, oh, that doesn't look native. It's like, well, it's made by a native artist, so it is native art, and trying to break those stereotypes. I'm not a very in your face type of person with these messaging, but I think that it comes through because I have that intention when I'm creating it. So I've had people recognize that with the work that I do. They're like, oh, okay, this is very contemporary and very nuanced and representative of our diverse cultures. And I'm like, yes, you get it. But like I said, it's up to the viewer as well to come up with their own moral of my work. And that's where that reciprocity comes in for me. It's not just me, it's the viewer as well.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was talking to someone not too long ago, and they're like, I don't understand why a lot of natives don't make native art anymore. I was like, well, it's not the 1880s anymore. None of us were alive then, and people grow and change. And it was made by a native person. Just
yeah.
Give it so much time.
Yeah.
Good for you for coming up with that response. That's a good response.
Yeah, just, oh my gosh, at some point, really. It's like, well, you're not painting like a Dutch master. Like, really? Oh, okay. Anyway, so tell us about any upcoming shows you have, or what are you working on?
Gosh, I am working on so many things. I have another sport poster that I'm coming out with. I'm not sure if I'm like allowed to talk more about it, but I have a sport poster that's coming out with another Seattle team.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Wow.
And then so I've been like running some markets and stuff. I have a quarterly market, which is really fun because I get to work with other artists in the community and just share space with them, and also get to meet people that follow me on Instagram. Sometimes it's like, you get that little dopamine boost when someone likes or comments, but when it's in person, it's like they took the time to show up, and that means the world to me. And to have that face-to-face connection is like, to me, like it all comes together, right? And so I have 4 markets coming up in 2023. I have I have some work at the Stonington Gallery that is pretty amazing. There's a portrait that I have in there right now that's on display for their December exhibition. So I hope folks can go check it out right now. It's up there. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff. I work with a lot of organizations and do, graphic design contract work, which is always really fun because I get to see like a little bit behind the scenes of what they're doing. And, it helps me like be connected. And then I make graphic design curriculum content for Muggleshoot, their tribal school. And, I do a lot of different things. And I think all of it really helps me grow as an artist. And I get to learn through these different projects and meeting I meet hundreds of people a year. And it's through this artwork that I'm doing. So that's really awesome. A new thing that I'm trying to do is develop my photography skills so that I have references for my paintings and for my art. And so, just trying to put myself out there, learn new skills and make those connections, feeling a little bit more comfortable being out in public. So I really want to show up. I'll be at the Daybreak Star Market this weekend, just as a visitor and a guest, because I want to support others. So, that's, a little bit of what I'm working on, just being out there and trying to make more paintings. That's always the goal. Hopefully have a solo show and, in the future.
That'd be great. Could you please share, Paige, any challenges or obstacles that you feel comfortable sharing with us that you faced as an artist and how you overcame them? What was that process?
There's a lot of things, and I don't want to offend anyone, but I would say there's a lot of lateral aggression that I'm currently facing. And I would just say, if you know who you are, aside from all of your identities, if you feel like you're a good person with good thoughts, with good intentions, rely on that and know and trust yourself that you can get through it. And it's not just me. There's other people that I see that are going through this too. And I think there's this scarcity mindset that's happening right now. And I understand where it's coming from, but I don't condone the behavior because it's very harmful. So I would just say, reach out to the people that you feel like that you can count on, that can lift you up, that are going to listen and be an ear. And then if you have the capacity, be that person for someone else as well. They say check on your friends kind of thing. Check on your artist friends too. I think most of us, I don't know, personally, I can say I require a lot of attention and compassion. And when I feel like that's lacking, I try to get myself out of this mindset and break free and go beyond myself. So I encourage, if you don't feel great, maybe going to a gathering that there's going to be good people that will take care of you, and go to your favorite places and reconnect and get grounded. And listening to stories, other people's stories, always helps me feel better. And I would say if as an artist, one of the things that I'm facing right now is I really want to break. And there's that pressure as an artist. If you'd say no, you're missing out on an opportunity. You're missing out on, money that you rely on to take care of yourself. But I think it's also a capitalistic trick to keep us as robots.
Yeah.
So listening to your body, reflecting. I like to draw and paint, but if I feel like I'm tapped out, and I'll write, and it doesn't have to make any sense, but it feels good to just write it down, and I don't have to look at it again, but knowing that I put it down on paper makes me feel good. So taking breaks, I plan on going to a sweat in the beginning of the year and trying to plan out my year where I can have more self-care time and spiritual growth. So I would say like that's as important as being a creative person and creating things. It's also like, when you work out so much, you need those rest days. It really helps your body to repair and to get stronger. So looking at it as a muscle, sometimes it's really good to always be creative, always in the flow. But when it's not coming to you, maybe your body's trying to tell you something.
Good advice.
Well said. Thank you for sharing.
So I have kind of an arts business question. One thing we've been asking people lately is about grants, because we've discovered that a lot of natives don't go after grants, and have my own ideas about why maybe that would be. But have you ever tried to get arts grants or worked with like Seattle or King County?
No. And I think that's really good that you are bringing that up. I personally don't. I get a ton of people that send me like, oh, you should sign up for this grant. You should sign up for this artist residency. And I think like, I don't have like the capacity to do that sometimes. I'm reading over contracts. I'm reading over the specifications of a certain project. And sometimes I have to do, buckets load of research before I even start on a project. And being an artist, a successful artist, it is not a solo task. Like I count on people to help me out. Like my partner helps me out tremendously. And so I think thinking that you have to do it all on your own is a fallacy. Like it is impossible to do this on your own. If you have like someone that is a good writer, maybe working with them to flesh out these ideas. If you have a concepts person that's really good at concepts, if you want to work with them, I think, knowing your people and knowing their strengths and asking them for help is really important. It is very intimidating. I Google a lot of stuff. If I don't know like certain language, I always am like, oh yeah, sure. And then I like Google it. And there's no shame in that. I'm growing, and that's part of growth. It's like that. I don't know, fake it till you make it, but it's kind of like also asking people for help. And there is no shame in that. And as long as there's like that reciprocity, making sure that like you take care of like if you're asking for something, gifting people, for their time and, just building those relationships in that way. I'm trying to get better at grants and such, but, creatives working on all of us.
Thank you so much. You've already given a lot of wisdom and of what you've said already, but do you have anything specifically towards Native youth who might want to get into arts or anything?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I want to say I am so proud of our youth right now. They are just speaking up and they have strong voices. And I'm just so like, as someone that didn't grow up with that and being, I didn't feel like I had the place where I was at. Like I was like, my culture's not being taught to me. I don't have I feel like I'm invisible. And I felt like art was the only thing that kept me going. And now I just want them to know, like, you are important. If you're feeling down, you matter. We're looking to you to change the world. And whether it's, painting, drawing, ceramic, sculpture, literature, it is important. And your work could change lives at all levels. It can change an elder's life, an adult's life, the future generations to come's life. And I try to remember that whenever I feel really sad or down, is that something is calling me to do this. And I don't know who it is, but once I put it out there, I may be changing someone's life. I may be having someone who doesn't feel seen, and now they do. And just to remember, like, your work is important. It might save others' lives, it might save your life, and that it really makes a difference. And to also know that, like, with success comes people that are resentful towards you. And that is just a temporary moment, and to push, if you can, to push past it and just to keep on going, because that's part of success as well. And I'm excited to see what the youth do. Like, I'm just so proud of them. Yeah.
It's been, I mean, Paige, it's been so incredible chatting with you. I mean, I'm already excited for our next chat to get the full breakdown of the next jersey or the next collaboration that you're working on. So please allow us, if we could be so honored and privileged to chat with you next, to have the exclusive to have that big breaking news.
Yes, definitely. Now we are connected in this way, and feel free to always reach out to me for anything. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to me today and asking me these good questions.